American television viewers have long adored Kelly Ripa and actor Mark Consuelos. With good reason, it has lasted for decades. Theirs is one of Hollywood's most well-known and cherished love stories. But behind the scenes, tragedies may infiltrate even the most ideal lives. Fans were recently shook to their core by rumors of an emergency involving Mark Consuelos in the intensive care unit. What happened? As Kelly Ripa appeared distressed and doctors whispered tragic information, millions of viewers were left in suspense. Even the brightest stars are subject to the same fragile orbit as the rest of us, as the dramatic story of a fateful night that changed their family's course poignantly reminds us. Problems' early warning signs. It began with an ordinary evening. Kelly Ripa posted a quick behind-the-scenes Instagram photo of herself grinning with the crew as her show came to an end. Before she went to bed, Mark, who was always the supportive spouse, sent her a humorous text message to make her smile. However, only hours after the incident, Kelly would find herself rushing to a hospital with her mind and heart racing. Mark had complained about the tightness in his chest earlier that week. He simply shrugged it off because he was in his early 50s and had a lot on his plate between producing, performing, and taking care of his family. Probably stress, he said Kelly, grinning his trademark smile, while ignoring her concerns. However, worry may conceal more dangerous dangers. It confronted him later that night. From the intensive care unit, a call. Kelly's phone began to ring at midnight. All of a sudden, a strange number showed up on the screen. Normally, she wouldn't notice it. Nevertheless, she had to answer. The speaking voice was urgent but composed. "Mrs. Consuelos, Ripa, from New York Presbyterian Hospital? Greetings. Your husband has been given admission. You have to come now." Her stomach fell. The words resonated in her mind like a tunnel-echoing sound. I acknowledge it right away. When she arrived at the hospital, she was escorted past waiting rooms and down sterile hallways that smelled like antiseptic. The nurses' voices were low. Doctors moved quickly. In the intensive care unit, Mark was surrounded by wires and monitors amid the incessant beeping of machinery. Physicians revealed the heartbreaking information. Dr. Patel, a seasoned doctor, pulled Kelly aside. He had a calm, considerate, and professional manner. Your spouse suffered a heart attack. Although his situation is serious, he is stable at the moment. We are testing in order to fully assess the extent of the damage. Cardiac incident. The word made her uneasy. Kelly's eyes filled with tears. She remembered with a start that earlier in the week, Mark had used jokes to make fun of his trouble. She thought about the happy family dinners, laughter, and future children, all of which looked delicately balanced while machinery made sure he would live. According to Dr. Patel, Mark has been ignoring warning signs. Her remarks were significant. Stress, long T workdays, and sleep deprivation are some of the things that accumulate. The bad news is that he should have been there sooner. We'll do everything we can to assist, but the next 24 hours are critical. Kelly's heartbreak. Mark and Kelly sat side by side in bed, Kelly resting her hand on his. His flesh was warm, but the force she had grown too accustomed to from his grip was gone. For the first time in years, she saw him as a weak man silently battling his own body, rather than the commanding husband who had protected her. Tears were flowing down her cheeks as she begged Mark, her voice trembling. "Not in this way. I thought I was in the intensive care unit all the time." Every time the heart monitor beeped, a prayer was said. The sound of a nurse's footsteps reminded her repeatedly that life was unstable, short, and unpredictable. In contrast to the confident, upbeat host that fans see on television, she was a terrified woman who feared losing the love of her life. Getting together with family members. Their 3 children immediately headed straight for the hospital after hearing the news. When they saw their father, who was fighting but was pale lying in bed, their hearts fell. Michael reassured his younger brothers, "Dad's strong. He will be able to get through this, and he always does." But Kelly could see fear clearly in their eyes. The same things frightened her. People in the industry, as well as Mark's friends and family, began reaching out to express their condolences and words of support. Although the Consuelos Ripa family had traditionally kept to themselves, their network of friends and acquaintances expanded at this precise moment. They couldn't have benefited from all the prayer and optimism in the world. Memories of romance. As Kelly sat there feeling tired and upset, thoughts and emotions flooded back to her. They were both young, impressionable, and giggling excessively when they first met on the set of All My Children. Their spontaneous wedding in Sin City, a seemingly predestined rush of joy. They are parenting their kids like any other loving family, in the midst of their fame. Numerous red carpet appearances when they viewed one another as soulmates rather than just co-stars. Looking back, she realized how valuable each moment they had shared had been. And furthermore, she fervently hoped that this was only the start of the story. A waiting game. The doctors worked long hours. The medical jargon used to describe examinations, scans, and treatments became unclear. Kelly treasured every update. She began using the term stable as a mantra. News organizations became aware of the problem at the same moment, with headlines like Mark Consuelos rushed to ICU. The reports went viral on the internet. Kelly Robinson was seen in the hospital in a tearful state. Consuelos' health breaking news from doctors. In addition to sharing heartfelt recordings of the couple's most tender moments, many fans used social media to send prayers and sympathies. It seemed that everyone was holding their breath. Opportunities would soon arise. By dawn, something had changed. Returning, Dr. Patel seemed cautiously optimistic. Overnight, Mark experienced positive results from the procedure. He is now experiencing a regular heart rate. If we go slowly, we might have avoided the worst of it, even if he is still in danger. Kelly drew out her breath and sighed of relief. She felt a very mild reaction as she took Mark's hand again. Felt content, allowing her to think that love might win out in the end. An address to the readership. A few days later, Kelly addressed the eager audience as Mark's recovery advanced. She said, "This has been the hardest week of our lives," with tears in her eyes. "Mark is everything, my rock and my mate. Seeing him laying in that bed made me realize how fragile life is. Be careful to put your health first. Be mindful of the warning signs. Our family is grateful to everyone who prayed for us. We felt a wave of love." Her words touched a lot of people. There were others participating as well. It was about all the couples who have ever held a trembling hand in the intensive care unit, all the families who have ever stood in a hospital hallway. Crucial lessons. A terrible turn in Kelly and Mark's narrative demonstrates that, despite their fame, nobody is immune to life's uncertainties. Health protection is of the utmost importance. Our love is at its most radiant when we are in pain. Mark and everyone else watching were startled awake by his emergency. Stress, neglect, and silence are deadly. We must listen to our bodies if we are to survive. A love that never dies. In the next weeks, Mark continued to improve. He smiled more often, spoke in a softer voice, and relaxed. Kelly rarely left his side, keeping her hand close to his. One night, as they sat in silence in his hospital room, he said, "I scared you, didn't I?" Kelly's tears fell again. "More than anything else, but you haven't left. That is very important to me." Surrounded by the very machines that had saved his life, they realized that their true strength was found in their unshakable bond with each other, rather than in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Conclusion. The emergency that occurred in Mark Consuelos' intensive care unit will always be remembered by his loved ones. Even though the doctors revealed some heartbreaking facts, it wasn't the end of the story. Instead, it became a tribute to perseverance, family harmony, and the kind of love that can get you through the darkest moments. Kelly Ripa received heartbreaking news, but it also served as a poignant reminder that Mark's heartbeat was a miracle.